We are live and in stereo. Fashionably late, but we are here. Welcome to Dadbodd's podcast, episode number 92, sponsored by Viva Tequila Seltzers, and we are drinking them right now. They are delicious, they are refreshing, and they are perfect. So thanks to our sponsor, Viva Tequila Seltzers. It's college football. We're in episode number 4 on this one. It has been a great run, and I'm loving this every single goddamn minute. And week 0 starts on Saturday. I am joined with my partner in crime. It is the gun. It is the lock. Lockbets.net. What's going on, my friend?
How the hell are you, brother?
Woo!
I'm in a parking lot in New Jersey right now.
I see it.
A truck or two in my future. Could be, are you hungry? I am very hungry for football knowledge. I may be a little delayed here, Guns. Do you see my mouth moving and my words moving slower, or am I good?
It's a slight delay, but it's unnoticeable if you're drinking some beverages, as most of us
there we go.
are probably doing tonight.
You know what it was? I'm not made for HD. Okay, this face is for standard definition.
It's just too much. It's too much for the camera. It's too much for the camera. And I'm talking about your beauty, not your anything else.
Thank you.
But we're here to talk ACC. This is the ACC podcast. And my God, a very competitive one from my eyes. And I think it could go any which way with at least 4 or 5 teams. Are you seeing it the same way?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have a good blend of same guys at the top. I mean, you got Clemson. That's until proven otherwise, is the top dog per se. But you got a lot of teams that have been struggling the last few years in the ACC. You know,
right?
What identities are we going to get for teams like Florida State, teams like Virginia Tech, Virginia?
Correct.
These teams. And they gotta get better, right? Or no? Is this just the curse? Do they sell their soul to the devil, and now they'll never return?
Correct. And we're gonna get into those teams one by one, but we want to get rolling here. But we got a sponsor read. We want to get right into it. Let's talk about our sponsor. We already mentioned him before, Viva Tequila Seltzer. This podcast is sponsored by Viva Tequila Seltzers. That's right. The Dadbodd podcast is sponsored by Viva Tequila Seltzers. Viva Tequila Seltzers is a refreshing and drinkable hard seltzer. 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and 4.5 ABV. Viva is the perfect drink for your college football celebrations, as it was created for the active lifestyle in mind. Viva is flavored perfectly tequila seltzer because it is the spice of life, and they like to. I gotta start that over. Viva flavored their tequila seltzers because flavor is the spice of life, and they like their drinks with a kick, just like they like to live their lives. Viva flavors perfectly with their artisanal Blanco tequila for a subtle and refreshing drink. Their belief is to live long, live well, and live it up. Hashtag Viva Up. And please follow our sponsor on Twitter at Viva Seltzers. Time for the college football breakdown of the ACC. I want to start with the top dog. Maybe the top dog. We'll see at the end of this. Clemson, the Tigers, off year for them. A lot of injuries, especially on the defensive end, that kind of affected them. DJ Uiagalelei as the quarterback, is he enough to carry this team? Lock bets.
What do you think? Say that 5 more times. That.
Well, ask me later in the podcast after I've had a few Vivas. All right.
Okay. I think that's a very good question, and I have an answer for you. I'm pulling it up. I have an answer for you. All right. Let me pull this up. I'm gonna share my screen, as they say.
Yeah, share the screen.
You know what? I'm a little bit behind, a little bit ahead. I don't know why I thought I should be in New Brunswick right now. I should not be in New Brunswick.
No.
For some reason, my head was in the clouds. I was eating some too many fat Darryls back there. I got something way more fit.
The locals will get that reference.
That's right. Oh, geez. There we go. All right, ready for it?
Yes.
Well, anything other than this.
He does have a teleporting machine, ladies and gentlemen.
You know what?
For the record.
All right. I can't do it right now, but that's okay. I'm going back to New Brunswick. I think it's the same thing with Clemson. I mean, I think they have a dog shit schedule. I think, I don't think this is going to be a team, once again, that can compete with Alabama. They can't compete with Georgia. I don't think they can compete with some of those teams we talked about last week until they prove me wrong. Now, listen, I've been drinking the anti-Clemson Kool-Aid since the fall of 2013 when I transferred to the University of South Carolina. So I hate Clemson, okay? But when I got to University of South Carolina, we were on a 5-game winning streak versus them. Steve Spurrier was still the coach. Jadeveon Clowney would literally demolish any of those guys on those teams. So I always think of them as the stupid stepchild of South Carolina. But I'm sure they'd say the same about, South Carolina, University of South Carolina. But with that being said, I think this is going to be a better team than last year. Would you agree with that?
I agree, 100%.
Yeah, I think they're going to be a better team than last year. I think their quarterback play is going to be pretty damn good. I think the defense is probably going to be good, but are they going to miss a step without their, defensive coordinator?
Fair point. And that's not in my analysis either. I mean, when I look at Clemson, I'm looking at 9 starters back on the offensive side, including DJ Uiagalelei, Will Shipley, and 4 out of the 5 starters are back on the offensive line. So offensively, it all depends on if you get the same DJ that you got last year, this team ain't going nowhere. If this guy has the ability to improve, and I honestly think that from a coaching standpoint, I think you got to put DJ on a short leash especially if you have guys in the waiting and you have some depth at the quarterback position. I didn't look that far into it, but DJ has been an issue. And statistically, if you look at his numbers, he's only completing 53% of his passing. So I see that as a problem there. Defensive line is going to be fully intact. You understand that there was a lot of injuries that happened in the NC State game that really killed that defensive line, including losing a local guy from the town that I live in now, Damascus, Maryland, Brian Breezy, that got hurt in that game, and it really took that team back a step, especially on the defensive line. He's back. The defensive line is healthy. They suffered without him. They're not going to suffer this year. He's going to be back with a vengeance. If I look at the weak point, I already mentioned it before, is like you need DJ. DJ's got to perform. He's got to be ND on the road in 2020 style performance. We need that. His completion, honestly, he had more interceptions than touchdowns last year. He had 9 TDs, 10 INTs. That's pathetic. That is Penix level. I mean, if you're going to be the guy and you're going to be the perennial Clemson quarterback, you're going to be the Trevor Lawrence, you're going to be Deshaun Watson, like that level of a quarterback for Clemson, you need to pick your game up or you're going to lose your job. So Clemson,
I think it's pathetic. I think it's pathetic that Clemson can be in this conference. They can talk all this shit. And then you just gave us a stat that is pathetic. That's what pathetic teams do. All right. You have a quarterback that is inconsistent. Okay. Inconsistent to say the least. If a quarterback had that stat line anywhere west of South Carolina, right? Let's say, you're in middle America. Let's say even if you're at USC, you're at Texas, you would be run out of town. Okay.
Correct.
So the fact that we're saying that's a positive that he's back, I think that's a little scary. But I have to go back to the schedule. The schedule is pathetic. Okay,
correct.
I'm anti-ACC. I think they're pretty much a joke of a conference. I mean, just going down the line, you got Georgia Tech, you got Furman, Louisiana Tech, Wake Forest. So I think you go 4-0 there.
Yep.
NC State, I mean, is going to give them
That's a tough one. Very tough one, but it's a revenge spot too. So look at that.
I loved NC State last year. I mean, they were on my card. They were on my card a ton. I mean, like you said, it's a revenge spot, so it's too close to call. But then you got Boston College, Florida State. If they're any ounce of the same Florida State as the last 5 years or the last 4 years, then they're going to roll through them. Syracuse, I mean, Notre Dame's their only, perennial huge game that's going to be on, the big stage.
Yep.
I agree with you. Out with Miami and South Carolina, which I think will be tough, but I don't know. I'm sick and tired of them getting, in the same discussion as the Georgias and the Alabamas of the world. Guys, it's not 2019. It's not 2020 or not 2018 for that matter. Trevor Lawrence is long gone. Travis Etienne is long gone. Hunter Renfrow is long gone. Deshaun Watson's long gone. So what are we even talking about? Do you have any players to watch? Do you have anybody that should be on our radar that maybe they're not?
I think Will Shipley is going to be a big help to that offense. And really everything kind of goes around, and their offensive line is going to be intact. So DJ's going to get the protection, but can he can he take that protection and pass it down the field without picking it off? That's going to be a huge key to this team. And granted, they lost a lot of their defense early in the season. So maybe having their defense on the field, making stops, that may help a little bit in the confidence of the offense, but I don't know if this team is going to be the team to beat in the conference, because really there's 3 or 4 teams breathing down their neck, and they're poised, they're experienced, and seeing what Clemson did last year, I think will bode confidence to the teams that are the up and comers. Game to watch. Do you have one?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's NC State.
I'm with it. Same. Yep, I'm with you.
No doubt about it. I think their season's going to live and breathe by that game. And I mean, let's say you lose to NC State, it can quickly collapse on you fast. You could get caught at Florida State, maybe if they show something. But then Notre Dame, you're looking at 2 losses if Notre Dame shows up and beats them, and then you finish off with Miami and South Carolina. This could be a 4-loss team. It could be a 4-loss team.
We're seeing it the same way. Like I said, NC State's my game too. I lost by 6 last year to NC State in double overtime. Lost half their defensive line during that game, so that I can't really count that as a W for NC State, and I hope NC State doesn't count that as a W as well. But I'm telling you, Clemson is going to be hungry for this one. This is going to be the game, and they may be hungry for Notre Dame because that is a premier game, but it's at Notre Dame versus this one, which they're playing at home on October 1st against NC State. Big game for them, probably the biggest one. At least early on in the season. So NC State.
If you beat them and you could roll into Notre Dame, what would that be? 7-0? You can go if you go to Notre Dame 7-0.
Yep.
You probably have a full head of steam. You probably got a lot of confidence, and that's probably going to be a difference maker in their season. If they lose that game, like I said, you lose one of those kind of 50-50 games. You get caught on the road versus Florida State. Once Clemson's wheels fall off, they fall off pretty hard.
Yes. Yeah, because once they got those 2 losses under their belt, if they get 2 losses, that is going to be the down skid of the season. They're going to feel helpless. But
because I think Dabo and the Clemson Nation, they rise up with that cockiness. Oh, we're 8-0 in the ACC. We should be number 1. But with 2 losses, they're just a middle of the road, stinky squad. Now, Guns, I'm going to tell you a name. Tell me if this guy rings a bell.
Yep.
Cade Klubnik.
Cade no. He
Cade
doesn't ring a-
Klubnik.
What a name. You know what? It's not even a good name. Anything.
I tell you what. I know you like DJ Ukulele. I know you love
Ukulele. Yes.
Ukulele. This guy looks like a quarterback. Cade Klubnik. He was twice the USA Today Offensive Player of the Year, Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Texas from Westlake High School in Austin, Texas. 5-star recruit, 7,500 yards, 86 touchdowns. Sign this guy up, man. I mean, this guy looks like the real deal. What am I missing here? Is this guy hurt? Cade Klubnik. I don't know. Listen, Cade Klubnik.
I do like Cade. I hate his last name. I do like Cade.
Yeah, I keep wanting to say like Cade Kubiak or anything other than Kupnik. I mean, what's going on there?
That is family name that they should have changed long ago. Apparently, but what a good college name. I mean, I think we're on the same page as far as Clemson is concerned. Kind of want to move on to the next one. We've talked
please
Clemson
move on. I just spilled my Viva tequila seltzer because I was so excited on Cade Klubnik. So keep going. I'll be back.
I do like the random stats about some of these players, so look out for Cade Klubnik. We're moving on to the Wolfpack. Ow! And I'm not talking about the NWO. I'm talking about NC State. They had a promising season last year. Great season. Had a few dramatic losses at the end. Devin Leary getting hurt. That kind of hurt them as well. They are back full strength for the most part. 17 returning starters this season. 7 on offense, 10 on defense. I would ask Lockbets if he was here, but I think he has a disconnection issue that those Vivas did probably spill into his computer. Hopefully not. So let's talk NC State. NC State strength, 17 returning starters, 10 on defense especially. They do lose a lot of their running back quorum, especially Knight last year was an absolute electric running back for him. But I think with running backs, most of the good teams do have a little bit depth in there. We just don't know what that depth entails. Top 2 tacklers are back as well. 4 out of the 5 top receivers are back. So Devin Leary has the targets. The question is, does the run game carry on this season from last season into this season? Does Devin Leary have to pass the ball enough? I still trust Devin Leary. I think he's arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the ACC, if not the best. Strength of this team, linebackers and DBs will be the best in the country, just below Alabama. Every article, every magazine that I've read, everyone's high on the secondary of NC State. I think there's going to be a strength of their defense, and they have a good offense. This team is really loaded from both sides of the ball. I like this team a lot, and I'm really going to be paying attention to the lines that they get this season. I hopefully they don't get overinflated by public perspective. I mean, honestly, Locke, I'm very high on NC State this year. More high on them this year than I am last year. What do you think?
I'm with you. Apologies to the 10,000 viewers at home that are watching this.
The millions. Hey, millions.
I was so excited. My fat elbows smashed down right into my junk, right into my shorts. Luckily, I didn't get anything on the rug, or else Lady Locke would have been quite upset. And
you would have been on the podcast DL.
I saved most of my Vita. So
thank God.
We're okay.
God bless.
Cade Klubnik, look him up, but I would not be surprised if he saves the season, or if it's week 7, they're 4-2, and Cade Klubnik is doing garbage time. So that's neither here nor there. We're on to NC State. Just taking a quick little rundown at their schedule. I mean, same thing. I mean, you look to go into Clemson 4-0.
Yeah.
You look to go to Clemson 4-0. That's going to be a nail biter, 50-50 game. You got Florida State, Syracuse, Virginia Tech, Wake Forest. That's a historical, ACC stretch there. You got October 8th, Florida State, October 15th, Syracuse, October 22nd, you get the bye week, but Virginia Tech, then and then Wake Forest and Boston. Yeah, I mean, I don't love their schedule as much as Clemson, but I think this could be a best case scenario. 1-loss team, maybe. Yeah. I mean, they could run. I like them, man. I think I like them for the ACC in general. I think it's kind of the same concept as last week. I was fading Oklahoma, and I want this, the next in line. I like those odds for NC State. I think NC State's in good shape here. What do you think, Guns?
Yeah, like before you got cut off, I basically did my breakdown of the NC State, and I'm on the same boat as you. I really think this team is better than last year. So experienced, and it's weird to see them have such a great defense. I think that kind of carries over to this year. I want to talk about the game to watch, though. What are your thoughts on the game to watch? I'm probably going to go kind of outside the cube on this one. And I know you may be saying Clemson. We already talked about the Clemson game. I kind of want to go
the rules clearly say you can't double dip. You can't use the same game, right?
No. I mean, one team's going to need it bigger than the other. And
let's hear your game to watch first.
Yep. So it's week 1. They have to play ECU. Eastern Carolina, at East Carolina. And let me tell you, I was looking at the stats on this one. Granted, this is a different NC State team, but they've lost 3 out of the last 4 in this matchup. And NC State has lost 3 straight road openers. Now, I want to put the asterisk on this one. This is a different NC State team. This is a growing NC State team with a different coach. I want to see the line on the week 1. And I kind of wrote a note to myself is look at ECU. And the line's out there now. We're talking about a week 1 game. I just think this is one of those games that can really catch them with, their pants pulled down, similar to how UNC got caught last year when everyone was high on them and they had to play Virginia Tech and lost to Virginia Tech, a team that Virginia Tech kind of owns. Maybe the same scenario here. We may see NC State having an early loss, a little bit of a shocker in week 1. Could happen and may carry them for the rest of the season. If they get this loss, it's going to be like blood in the back of your throat when you get punched. You swallow that blood and you get a little hyped up and you just go at them again. I think
I've never been in that situation, Guns. Not in a while.
Well, yeah, Young Guns was a little bit wild. So
10.5. Minus 10.5 you're seeing, right?
Yeah, and I think that line's too high. I think you got to go ECU on that one.
Yeah.
Maybe even sprinkle. Based on the trend. But that's a game to watch for me. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. Listen, their quarterback's a 3-year starter. Coach has been there for at least 5, right?
Yeah, he's been there for a bit.
I think this is a well-oiled machine. I'm not gonna put that juju on
Smith-Schuster
on my team. I'm not gonna put that Juju Smith-Schuster on NC State just yet. But with that being said, I just had it. Where is it? Okay. God, I'm in between 2 of them. I'm looking at Virginia Tech, and I'm looking at North Carolina. I think I'm going to go the latter. I think I'm going to go North Carolina here.
Okay.
I think the typical trap, I think NC State is going to be run and train, well-oiled machine. I think they come into Chapel Hill 10-0, 11-0. And I think they get beat at home.
I see. I see what you're doing here.
Yes.
High of highs. Just got to get through this UNC team that means nothing.
They're already looking towards the playoff.
Very narrative based. I got it.
It's just after Thanksgiving, right? Or is it? Yeah.
It's that Thanksgiving weekend is the last week of the season.
Everyone's thinking about taking their little long break. Meanwhile, you got the scientist, Mac Brown, in the lab. But no, with all seriousness, I do think that's going to be a great game.
Yeah.
But you could pick any of them. I think Florida State, that could be a good one to look at. Let's say NC State beats Clemson at Clemson. Then they go into Florida State and they do a typical choke job. I don't know. I still think this team's a well-oiled machine, veteran leadership, great coaching, and I think there is a changing of the guard with Clemson. So I'm taking NC State, and I have some futures on them too that I'll tell you later.
Yep. Yeah, I think we're on the same page on this one. Let's go to the next one, which is pretty much lackluster in my opinion, kind of based on news that we heard somewhere before, prior to the start of this season. Wake Forest, everything was kind of, for me, was kind of predicated on like if Sam Hartman was in or out, and now he's out for indefinitely. And I don't really have much to say about this team without knowing when Sam Hartman is going to come back to the offense. Are you on the same boat on this one?
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I've really pushed them down so far. I think their team total record has got to 6.5, 6. I have no faith in this team. There's nothing to talk about if you're not talking about Sam Hartman. So
do we know what the non-football medical
is? It could be personal, it could be mental. It's something that they're not disclosing to the public, and probably there's a good reason for it. Yeah. And I'm just gonna let it go.
Yes.
I don't really want to talk about it too much, but I want to talk about this team. I want to talk about Louisville. I want to talk about the Cardinals.
Okay.
Because this team, offensively, very explosive last year. Defense, probably not so much. What do you think of Louisville?
I want to hear what you think of Louisville.
All right, let's go with me. So top rushers are back, and when I say top rushers, I mean QB Malik Cunningham, and Jalen Mitchell. Those two
that's
are coming
what I
back.
wanted to look up. I wanted to make sure he was back.
He is back, and he's in full force. This team averaged 210 yards per game on the ground last year and 5.4 yards per carry with that 1-2 punch. Also, if you're concerned about, he doesn't have the same offensive line. No, he pretty much does. 4 starters are coming back on the offensive line from last year, and they added a Virginia Tech transfer center that was missing in that lineup. So that offensive line will either be probably going to be better than last year, if not the toughest ACC offensive line in the country. And that is scary with those 2 guys in the backfield. And I'm talking about Malik Cunningham and Jalen Mitchell. Weaknesses in this one, if you look at their stats from last year, stopping the passing game was a problem for them. They allowed opponents 65.3 completion rate last season. So they couldn't stop the pass. And you saw that in week 1. That one kind of sticks in my mind when they had to play Mississippi in week 1. Mississippi could just pretty much control the game as far from the offensive perspective. And I think this is something that they need to improve on. So I know they went to the transfer portal and got some depth in the secondary. That should help with that. So I do see an improvement in stopping the passing game, and I think that is a good from a coaching recognition perspective that their defense needs to improve, and they could kind of like just the offense is if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Tough schedule though, ranked number 9 in the country. They have to play UCF, BC, UVA, Clemson, and Kentucky on the road. All those. Real tough road schedule. So that is going to kind of play. Are they going to be a good road team? Or are they going to be a bad road team? Because that's going to be your season right there in a nutshell. I really like this team offensively. I have questions on the defensive side. Need to wait and see. But this team, in my opinion, should be able to improve from last year. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think their offense is going to be lights out. I think they're going to have an unbelievable rushing attack. But like you said, in this league, in this conference especially, big numbers can happen quick. Offense can pick up numbers very quickly. And if you don't have a defense that's equipped for that, you may be in some trouble, right?
Yes, correct.
But, if they could take – I'll say this. I mean, I guess it's too easy to say this, but I think they're going to be better than Wake Forest.
Oh, for sure. I think everybody's going to be better than Wake Forest without Sam Hartman.
Yeah.
Period.
I don't think they're going to be able to compete with some of the teams on their schedule. But there's a few question marks. I really don't know I don't know what Florida State's going to show up this year. I don't know what Boston College is going to be like this year. They don't have too many cakewalks is what I'm saying. So,
yeah.
Like you say, though, I mean, if they're good road warriors, then it could go into November 12th at Clemson with a decent record, looking to be, looking to upset them. So I don't know. They have a tough stretch. They play Clemson and NC State and Kentucky to close out their season. Those 3 games could be the difference of making a bowl and not making a bowl. So I don't know.
All right, game to watch. What do you think?
I
can go first if you need a minute.
I don't know. I think you go first.
All right, so this is going to be an easy one. I think this is a cupcake win for this team, especially with the changes that have happened. It's going to be UVA. It's actually at UVA. It's on October 8th. UVA lost to them Louisville lost to them by 1 last season in a shootout. It was an absolute shootout. It was no defense. It was just tons of points and back and forth. You had Armstrong versus Cunningham, and it was just like last guy with the ball wins. 2-point favorite going into that game for Louisville on the road, and they lost in dramatic fashion. But that, when you have 2 teams like that, that's going to happen. It's a revenge spot for them. They get him at home this year. I'm sorry, this year they get him on the road. They played in Louisville last year. I want to correct myself there. But I think with the losses on the UVA side, it's not going to be able to be equipped for Louisville. I see this to be a blowout. From a betting perspective, look for Louisville to kill UVA.
Yeah, I'm pretty down on UVA this year. I think the world may be. But it's what is it? Year 3 for Coach Satterfield.
Yeah, Satterfield. Yes,
Satterfield. I think. I mean, it can only go up. It can only go up. They have one of the most prolific players in the conference, maybe in the nation. So I'm buying Louisville.
Oh, what is this? Coming to you live from the Dadbodd Studios. This is a Dadbodd exclusive. This is special. I'm just going to say this is special. We have a special guest here, surprise guest. You may know him as the new content contributor of the Action Sports Network. It is GDog 5000 on Twitter. What's going on, my friends? Welcome to
Gentlemen.
the College Football Preview ACC style. And he is drinking a beverage, not a Viva, but he's drinking a beverage nonetheless. And we'll give him a pass on that one.
Yeah, I got limited alcohol in my house, so it's pretty much just as little much of Jameson left in a bottle. I was like, that'll keep me capped. You don't end up over drinking. It's like, all right, this is good.
Perfect.
So we're talking college football. You are the touchdown guru. Granted, it is more so towards the NFL, unless I'm wrong.
Yes.
What do you think? What do you think of college football, ACC? What are your thoughts on I guess, what are your thoughts on college football in general?
Well,
what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah. Just let's open up with the very general question here.
Yeah.
Do you know what college football is? Okay, so yes, I do pay attention to college football, but I could definitely define myself as a true casual. Like, so if you were to ask me, like, who do you got in the SEC? I could probably give you a pretty easy answer because it's like Alabama and Georgia. Like, it's not.
That's
really
Vanderbilt.
Oh yeah, right. Kentucky.
Can you go on mute, please? Can you mute the mics, please? Thank you. No, guns. Muting guns. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, I'm going. No, me. He's talking about me.
No, but really, so I actually wanted to approach you guys. This is part of the reason why I kept bugging you guys to come on the show, because I am a casual when it comes to college football. You guys are more plugged in than I'll ever be. So I wanted to see if I could turn it around on you on some futures questions and ask you like about championship odds. Like, and just for me, I kind of look at a team like Georgia and I see pretty much, just as an NFL fan and NFL follower, pretty much most of their defensive starting lineup get drafted. Is it really going to be that kind of similar Alabama turnover where they're going to bring in that much more talent into those positions? Because I'm confused on why they're only plus 350 to win the title again and go back to back. And I'm just wondering, if your guys' perspective, are they just as locked and loaded as they were? It doesn't even matter. Is it like a factory like Alabama, or are we looking at a team that maybe is being a little more overvalued just because they did just win the national championship?
I mean, I think from my perspective anyways, Georgia lost a lot to the draft. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of unknowns there. So I'm not taking away from Kirby Smart's recruiting, because that's pretty much it's based on his depth. Who does he have lined up next? Now, he comes from the Nick Saban School of Coaching. I would think that he's going to be locked and loaded with new players. Those new players are unknown right now. And you have an Alabama team that is just more experienced. And most of those guys that experience that hurt of the national championship are coming back, especially, and their defense is going to be absolutely incredible. From my perspective, I think Alabama is a lock shoe in to get to the college football playoff, and then we'll see what happens there. And I think Ohio State is another team that brings back a lot of guys with a chip on their shoulder, especially losing to Michigan in a very important game that kind of killed their hopes of getting to a college football playoff. But that perspective, that defense is going to improve. I think with Alabama, I think they can match up better with a young and inexperienced Georgia team. Not saying that Georgia won't be good. They will be good because they're in just a weaker side of the conference.
Sure.
But when you think of the top two teams to win in the college football playoff, you have to look at Ohio State and Alabama, and then everybody else is going to be a surprise as far as if they beat those teams.
Well, the way the title odds are laid out right now, Guns, I'm just looking at them. So Alabama's the favorite at plus 220. Then you have Georgia at plus 300, and then Ohio State at plus 350. Then we take a little bit of a jump. We're up to Clemson at plus 1,200, and then we take an even bigger jump to Oklahoma and Texas A&M, both at 25-1. And that pretty much rounds out the top six for title odds. And I guess just why I was confused from a casual standpoint of a person who would approach this market and looking at a futures market, I don't really understand why Georgia is priced the way they are. And I guess that could very well be disputed if somebody was to show me, be like, well, look at all the talent they have coming in, all these teams. It's basically becoming a football factory, similar to the way that like Alabama was, where their entire defensive line would get drafted and they would bring in guys who were also 5-star ready just to go. And I'm just kind of wondering, I don't understand Georgia's price. So I was hoping that you guys could clarify this. And it sounds like from your description that there is going to be more talent coming. It's just has a couple more question marks than say like an Alabama does entering it, so the odds imply that.
Yeah, I think you're hitting the mark. You're hitting the nail on the mark, right? They just won the national championship. They've been pretty consistent the last 2-3 years as a powerhouse. Why are they plus 400, right? I mean, they just won the national championship. Why aren't they plus 250? Why aren't they plus 175? Why isn't it flip-flopped, right? I mean, Georgia's going to take a step back, and they're in a very tough – they have a tough schedule. They play in the SEC,
yep.
And until you do what Alabama's done, which Alabama's done for the last 10 years, and you continually, reproduce those seasons, I think plus 400 is kind of trying to drag you in, but it's not going to get you anywhere. I think if anything, you may want to hop on the Alabama train at plus 175 because you're not going to see that all year after week 1 starts. But
you're not going to get them as a dog probably the entire season. So even if you did the rollover method, and that's if they go undefeated, you might still not really get that much of profit out of it. So Alabama plus 220, I'm usually somebody would take more of a long shot, but in college football, it's just too difficult to try to justify some team like, I don't know, like Oregon at 40-1 or something like that, or just Utah or something like that, like a Pac-12 team coming out and, shocking the world kind of thing. It's difficult to fathom. So that's all I wanted to know, boys. And that really just kind of helps me out because I've been looking at this championship market and I'm trying to get more into college football and just trying to see if I can understand what the odds are correlating to. And I just feel like if you gave me Georgia and you said that price, I was like, no, they should be closer to like plus 1,000 with all the players they lost, unless, and it sounds like they have some talent coming in. But even then, Ohio State, I think you made a solid point there where you were talking about how Ohio State is returning a lot of guys. They're going to be dominant in the Big Ten, which is always a conference that's going to represent the college football playoff. So I think I'm with you, man. I think out of those three, I'd rather maybe look at Ohio State at plus 350.
I think that's probably the best play out of the three. I think everybody's kind of going to. I mean, from a public perspective, I think a lot of people will jump on Alabama over Ohio State. With Georgia, I think they're pretty much saying that like Georgia's going to run their side of the division on the SEC side, Alabama's going to run theirs, and they're going to meet up in the SEC championship, which is going to be the key game on who gets where. And granted, I would say that there's a possibility that those teams will again get into the college football playoff. It's a possibility, but the defense lost so much on the Georgia side. There's a lot of questions there. Stetson Bennett, the offensive, the guy that made all the plays in the championship game, he's back. A lot of the offense is back, so maybe it's a little bit of a swing there, but I guess it may be more predicated on the depth that Kirby Smart built on the defensive side. He was a defensive coordinator under Nick Saban, so I don't know that can kind of play into it. You're probably, I'm kind of just, guessing how the books are thinking everything.
I just think it's such a public price. Like, I just don't think.
Yes.
If I'm making an argument, and I'm probably going to lose now because Georgia will probably march on and go back to back. If I say it's a bad price, don't bet it. And that's all I worry about is getting clipped. Old takes exposed. Boom. Put the take.
I personally think I think it's too good of a price. I think plus 400 is. I think it's too much of a tease. Like I said, I mean, if they return most of their guys and they revamped everything, I think it should be flip flop. They should be ahead of Alabama. But listen, I kind of with guns. I'm with you as well. Let Alabama and Georgia, just take care of each other. Take them out of the picture. Ohio State can come in healthy and win a national championship. So I'm with you.
Schedule that as a week 1 or week 0 matchup, man. Just let the whole national championship be decided in week 0 and do it.
I love it. So hopefully that helped you there, G-Dog.
That was perfect.
Thanks for joining us. We got to get back to it, man. There is a big schedule here. Thanks.
Jeez.
Follow him on Twitter at GDog5000 and go check him out on his articles on the Action Network.
I didn't even realize that I've been sleeping under a rock. Congrats, my man.
He's a new hire. He just put out. We just saw it was actually shared in our chat that he just put out his touchdown props for, I think it was week 1 on the Action Network. So I'm gonna go check that out.
Is he full time there, or is he?
He is full time. He's left his company
Wow.
and he's taking everything with him, his podcast and everything. So hopefully he throws your boy Guns a bone, including lock bets as well on the podcast. I was getting to both of them.
You know what, Guns? Was that because I told you to mute? Is that because I told you to
No,
mute?
you were right on the mute. I actually muted for a second and then I had something to say. But anyways, let's go to the next game. Florida State, the Seminoles. Yes. Always highs of highs that everybody has, and then just give you the lows of lows. Showing up on week 1, almost beating Notre Dame, and then they go into the next week and lose to an FCS team in Jacksonville State. What are your thoughts on Florida State this year?
Like most teams that I've said in this freaking conference, I think it's an open playing field for who wants to be in the top 3, right? I mean, we've already determined that Clemson, NC State, 1A, 1B, with NC State, in my opinion, further beyond Clemson. But who's going to be the 3rd best team in this conference, right? I'm a Florida State, like, kind of a secret fan. I think every year that they're going to make that leap. I don't think it can get any worse down in Tallahassee. So with that being said, let's take a look at their schedule. All right, let's not overreact. You're going September 4th versus LSU. LSU, I wasn't here for the preview, but at home, I mean, new coach with Brian Kelly, why not, right? But let's say that's a loss. They go 1-1. Then you play a tough Louisville team like we were just talking about, 1-2. Boston College is never easy for Florida State. Let's say they can go 2-2 there. Wake Forest 3-2. NC State 3-4. Clemson 3-5, Georgia Tech, let's say 4-5.
Right.
And then you finish Miami 4-6, Syracuse 5-6, Louisiana 6-6, and you finish Florida. So their last game is going to be versus Florida, and in my opinion, it's going to determine if they go to a bowl or not. So they got a tough schedule. I think I don't see them going too far, but what do you think, Guns? Give me some stats I can hold on to in my pocket.
Well, I mean, they got 16 starters back, 8 on offense, 8 on defense, including 4 out of the 5 top tacklers. There is a plus, and then they get the quarterback dual threat, Jordan Travis. Weak point, tough schedule, as you just mentioned. 18th in the country. They have to play LSU, at Louisville, at NC State, Clemson, at Miami, Florida. Those are their key games, I think, right there. There's not much else I can say about this team. It's a kind of Florida State he shoots themselves in the dick somewhere, and I just don't know what game that is going to be. But with that and their tough schedule, I think they're contending for 6 wins to get to a bowl game. And I don't see them getting higher. Granted, they're bringing back a lot of experience, and there is promise there. But this conference is just too tough for them all around the board. And I don't really have high hopes for the Seminoles. Game to watch. What do you got?
I'll go with LSU. I think they can catch them. This is not the same LSU that we're used to. I mean, you just had their 1A, 1B quarterback Miles Brennan retire from football. He wanted to leave the game of football for LSU. I don't know if Brian Kelly will be as successful year one. I mean, not many coaches are.
Very different game in the SEC for sure.
So I want to say that game. I think that's the game to watch because it's going to tell you what kind of team this is. If they can beat LSU at home, now you're talking about some of these 50-50 games going their way.
Yeah.
Because like Boston College, Wake Forest, Georgia Tech, Miami, Syracuse, Florida even. Like those games probably aren't going to go their way, but if they could beat LSU, get some momentum, like you said, they have the starters coming back.
Yep.
Maybe there's some hope for this team, but that's a game for me to watch. Let's get it out of the way early. And if they suck, then I'll be sleeping in at 11:30 when they play.
Yeah, Florida State's one of those teams. Like, I'm not sure if I should bet with them or against them. I'll have to watch this team. The game to watch that I got is Florida. They lost the last 3 matchups. Lost by 3 last year in a very close one after being down 24-7 in the fourth quarter. This could be a revenge spot for them. And I think this would probably be a good win for them to end the season, regardless of the situation with the coach, regardless of the situation with the team at that point. And hell, they may be playing for a bowl spot, which I love teams in this spot, especially going against a team that either already has their season decided. They're not going to get to the SEC championship. No reason to win that game. And then you have Florida State coming in, sneaking in a win, getting bowl eligible, and going to the pizza bowl, whatever, the Meineke oil check and lube bowl, whatever. It doesn't matter. They want to get to a bowl. Florida State versus Florida on the last game of the season. Next up, let's go over to Boston, shall we? Let's go over to Harvard Yard. No, we're not going to go to Harvard Yard. We're going to go to BC. Great quarterback. Very sneaky team. Can catch you sleeping. Dealt with a lot of injuries last year, including the quarterback. What are your thoughts on the Boston College Eagles?
I think they've been on the upswing, right? I mean, the last few years, they've been putting together winning seasons, which is saying something. So that's a good start. I think what Hafley's doing, Coach Jeff Hafley, I think what he's doing is pretty special. Once again, it's the ACC. It's a stinky conference, in my opinion. So if Boston College can be a 7-win team, it wouldn't surprise me one bit. All right. Like, I mean, all these teams, in my opinion, are kind of on that coin flip, 50-50 shots. But like you said, they have a lot of starters coming back. The offensive line probably could use a few bodies, which kind of concerns me for their quarterback.
Yep.
Especially versus some of these, big teams. Let's take a quick look at the schedule, which I love freaking doing. Boston College, where are you? Here we are. Boston College, you got Rutgers game 1. Holy cow. Greg Schiano versus Boston College.
Chop the wood.
Wow. That may be my game to watch, to be honest with you, just because the local.
Oh, I have a good one. I have a good one. This
Virginia
may be
Tech,
the play of the decade.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I know which one you picked. Okay.
No. You already made your pick.
I won't. My game to watch is UConn at UConn. Boston College, strut those stuff. Let's go.
All right. Let me talk about Boston College for a second. QB Phil Yurkovich, who should be my goddamn quarterback, and I'm talking about Notre Dame. But, Ian Book needed to stay there for an extra 2 years to make him transfer. I get it. And he's done well for the team. He's actually made them competitive. But, man, what could he do at Notre Dame? He's back. Heartbeat of the team, of the offense. Big boost off the injury. Defensively, 8 starters back on the defensive side, including their top 4 tacklers. So the defense should be improved. They've improved the last 2 seasons as far as giving up yards per game. So I see them being at their peak here on the defensive side. So Boston College is going to compete with anybody on the table. You want to talk about my game to watch? And it fits perfectly, checks all the boxes. This is the game. When that line comes out, I'm going to jump on it and hammer it. And I'm talking about Clemson.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Is that what you're thinking of?
Sure. Why not?
And let me tell you why Clemson. They've lost by 5 last season, 13-19 at 15-point dogs. This is BC's red bandana game. Do you know what the red bandana game is? Do you know what the red bandana stands for?
I sure do, because that guy was a club lacrosse player for Boston College, and I'm a club lacrosse player by heart. So I do. He was a hero and
absolute hero.
Yeah, no way going around it. He's probably one of my favorite Americans other than Pat Tillman, and they're probably 1A and 1B, right?
I don't think BC has lost a red bandana game, is what I'm saying. They haven't.
I did not know that was marked as the red bandana game.
This is what I'm seeing. This is going to be the red bandana game. And also, it's homecoming. It's homecoming, that game.
Okay, BC.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Are you smelling what I'm cooking right now?
Yeah.
This game fits perfect, as it will be Clemson. Also, this. Do you know who Clemson plays the week before?
I'll
tell you.
Florida State.
NC State.
NC State.
So that's a big game. So how the outcome comes out of that game. Say Clemson wins this game. I'm going to go clean out my bank account responsibly and put it on BC. Because I see no other direction. It's a red bandana game. It's homecoming. It is an overlook game for Clemson if they come out of this okay. And BC is coming off a bye week. So they're going to be fully prepared for Clemson.
Yes. Okay.
It is it's the perfect storm is what it is.
So what you're saying is the money line is in play.
The money line has to be in play.
It has to be.
What's
Not
their everything.
They've never lost a red bandana game.
That I know of. The red bandana game has been a huge game.
For all Viva intensive purposes, we're going to say they've never lost a red bandana game.
They have a tremendous record at the red bandana game.
Does Clemson know what they're walking into?
They're walking into the perfect storm. Especially if they beat NC State. Especially if they beat NC State. And they should beat NC State for the revenge perspective. I'm telling you. What this game happens on October 8th. Mark it on your calendars. This is when the lines come out Monday or Sunday or whenever they come out. You need to buy on BC. Just buy. And not Clemson.
What's their over/under win total?
6.5, I think. 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mark me down. Actually, no, don't mark me down. Okay,
we'll talk about that at the end. We're not going to get ahead of ourselves, but yeah, go ahead. But I love that game so much, and it is probably the biggest game that I've seen yet. When picking the game to watch, that is the biggest one.
This is why you listen to the Dadbodd podcast. It's August 24th, 2 months before this game's about to be played.
I'm going to clip this too. And if I eat shit, I eat shit. I love BC in this game.
I thought you were just about to say I love eating shit.
And I may have to say that on October 8th at whatever time the game ends.
What are the next two teams? Because I need to get a new background. Italian Degenerate.
All right, let's go. So the next two teams I'm going to go over is Syracuse, and we can, Well,
I want a new background, so give me two teams. I just want to find a good.
Background needs to be Miami. Let's talk about Syracuse.
All right, talk about Syracuse. I'm going to find a background.
Okay, so let me talk about Syracuse real quick. 17 starters coming back, 9 on offense, 8 on defense, and Favors has got his back against the wall, fighting for his job. Weak point on this one, the defensive line brings back all but one starter. And if you know anything about Syracuse last year, huge strength at stopping the run. They only gave out 3.5 yards per carry overall and 2.3 yards per carry at home. This team knew how to stop the run last year. They're going to be fully new, a lot of inexperienced young guys on the defensive line. So I think there's going to be a step back on the defensive side and stopping the run. Weakness also, let's talk about the quarterback situation with Syracuse. Starting position and no depth. They're going to have Tommy DeVito transferred, so they're going to have to deal with Garrett Schrader, who played a lot last year, mostly mobile quarterback, like to run the ball. And they have a good running back with Sean Tucker. So it was a 1-2 punch on that end, but he's not a strong passer. 52.6 completion rate, 9 touchdowns and 4 INTs so far as in his career. They rushed for 28 touchdowns last year overall as a team. 14 of those were from Schrader, and I think the 12 of those were from Sean Tucker. So they need their run game to establish anything, because if they go into 3rd and long, this team is in absolute trouble. So back in Syracuse is a little bit wishy-washy. Look at the rush defense when looking at Syracuse. Game to watch that I put on here is Wake Forest. They lost by 3 last season as 5-point dogs. 8-3 against the spread versus Wake Forest in their last 11. And as the away team in this matchup is 4-1 straight up. Syracuse being the away team, and especially without Sam Hartman, possibly at this point. This game doesn't happen until November 19th. Could be an interesting game if they don't have Hartman. So that is my analysis of Syracuse. What do you think of Syracuse? Do you have a thought on Syracuse?
Well, it appears that my background is it working? Can you see my background?
I can see the background. Yeah, I see the U helmet right there.
A very iconic moment. I believe this is the 2000 national championship, but I cannot be too sure. I was trying to find like a picture of The Rock, Jimmy Johnson, the glory days, but I couldn't find one off the top of my head. That's okay. Honestly, Guns, I'm not going to waste a breath on Syracuse. I've wasted too many breaths on Syracuse through the years. I still love their coach. He's back, right?
Correct.
He's back. I still like their defense. It's usually pretty gritty and tough. Let me see if I can find a game to watch for you. Real quick.
Syracuse is tough. It's one of those teams that I just wanted to pass on, but there was a lot of stuff that I think a lot of people back Syracuse in a lot of underdog spots. And you can't do that
I tend to. I mean, they play Notre Dame pretty damn tough a lot.
They just play teams that are off a big win, very tough, because you have to go to Syracuse. You have to play them on a Friday or something like that on a short week. They're one of those teams that can just kind of sneak up on you. I mean, look at Clemson. Clemson is a perfect example of getting snuck up on by Syracuse. But this defense is more predicated on the defensive side, and they don't have it, and they lost Tommy DeVito to the transfer portal. So I don't know. This team just isn't a team I'm willing to back at any point this season. You want to get to the U? Let's get to the U. It's all about the U. It's all about the U. It's all about the U.
I love the U. I was a huge fan of the U growing up.
I wasn't, because I was a Catholic. And I was versus.
Oh, the convicts versus Catholics.
I watched that last night again. I've seen it like 100 times. I love it. Oh, I love it when they beat them, and Jimmy Johnson didn't get a replay. Game? No. They played the document. There's a documentary called Catholics versus Convicts, 30 for 30, and they talk about the rivalry, I guess. And the guy selling T-shirts, and it's interesting documentary if you haven't seen it. So you got Miami on the ups and ups. A lot of people love this team. What are your thoughts on the Hurricanes?
I mean, I'm a firm believer in new coaching staffs does not instantly transform a team. You got Mario.
I like that take.
What's that?
I like your take. Go ahead. No,
I'm not buying what I've never, ever, ever said on a program, a podcast, a tweet that like, oh, because this coach is there, now instantly they're going to be great, right? Miami is
Right.
still Miami. Is everyone forgetting the last 21 years or 15 years of Miami football? Are you guys crazy? Are you guys crazy out there? I think they have the right pieces. I love Cristobal. He was an assistant coach there. He was a player there. I think it's about damn time that they turn this ship around. I'm reading
Shout out Rizzo.
Josh Gaddis, offensive coordinator from Michigan. The offensive line, they've loaded up. So that's good news. But I think at the end of the day, you're only as good as your record and your schedule. And let's take a look at their schedule because the schedule don't lie. The schedule never lies. What are you feeling, Guns? Miami, first initial thoughts while I pull up their schedule.
This team is predicated on 3 words: Tyler Van Dyke. He's everything. The season last year in 2021 was turned around when they gave him the ball. He went 5-3, only losing to UVA by 2, UNC by 3, and then FSU by 3. He had a 62.3 completion rate, 239 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, and 6 INTs. Tough numbers. It's questionable. Everybody's really high on this kid because of the W's that he got. And I think it was because they were able to move the ball in a lot of games, catching teams in bad spots and capitalizing on it. And that gave the confidence to the defense. Listen, if you know anything about Miami football, they're emotional. It's all emotion. It's all heat. It's all pizzazz. It's all wrestling gimmicks. As long as that team has got you under their thumb, that team you're never going to get under that thumb. But I think a lot of teams have that poise and confidence, and you have the coaching there. Cristobal is the coach there now, so maybe that will be a deciding factor on the production of that team in the future. I just don't know if he's willing to work or has the ability to change the perspective of the team that he has now. Weaknesses in this one, the running game is awful last year, and it appears that they haven't done anything to fix it. They put up less than 100 yards rushing in 6 of their 12 games last season. So this is a position that they need to improve on. Game to watch. Let's talk game to watch here. So UNC, they play UNC on the 8th of October. They lost to UNC by 3 last season, and Miami has lost 3 straight games to UNC. Home team in this perspective is 7-2 against spread. I think this is going to be a game that they're going to want to win. And I really believe that Miami, as long as Tyler Van Dyke lives up to the hype, no pun intended, no rhyme intended, this team should be a contender on their side of the bracket or their side of the conference. That's my thoughts on Miami. You missed everything on Miami. Sorry there, but I just went on a rant. I gave everything. That's all I got on Miami.
Good. Listen, you heard the man. Let's not waste time here. But like you said, it's a Tyler Van Dyke show. If he does half or 3/4 of what he did last year, we're looking at a pretty decent team, right? I mean, they're gonna do fine. Do I think this team is instantly gonna flip the script and go undefeated and be a top 10 team? No, but will they sneak into the top 25 and show some love to the U? I don't see why not.
Don't forget this team has been terrible in bowl games for the past 10 years. I will say that. While moving on to the next team, and I'm talking about the Pittsburgh Panthers. Hey, you know what? Pickett is gone.
Gone.
But this team, to me, minimal drop-off. Minimal. What are your thoughts on the Pitt Panthers?
I'm with you. I think if you look at a lot of the tape, I think the quarterback position was a huge part of their success. But look who's back. I mean, I'm sure Guns has the list. I don't have the list because there's 25 teams in this conference. But if you want to go down the list, I mean, how many starters are coming back? A ton. And I don't see them skipping a beat. I love Pittsburgh. I think their schedule is just fine for them. And once again, I love the veteran gritty team. I don't know much about their quarterback. I could look him up, see if he has a mullet, see if he looks
quarterback.
Like
the quarterback was just announced the starter today.
All right, what's his name?
Is Keaton Slovis from USC.
Keaton Slovis. Sounds like an investment banker.
He looks like every Pitt quarterback that has ever gone through Pitt.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes.
He fits the mold.
It's funny. I said he looked like a junior analyst off of Wall Street, and I'm going to double down on that. This guy looks like a junior analyst at Goldman Sachs. And his father's got a lot of money, and they go to the Hamptons every summer. This guy. I'm not going to tell you who he looks like, but he looks like a quarterback that used to wear similar blue colors in college.
Yes.
That's neither here nor there.
You want my thoughts on Pitt?
Yes.
I love this team.
Yeah.
I love them. I think people are going to be down on them because Kenny Pickett is gone. But that defensive line, actually, you know what? The defense is going to be the driver of this team versus the offense. You can say what you want. I know Jordan Addison is gone. I know Kenny Pickett is gone on the offensive side. But I want to talk about the defense. Pitt's D-line is going to be one of the strongest in the country, just behind Alabama. They are ranked second in preseason from the polls that I've seen. They have 5 defensive linemen with 26 sacks last season. They had 54 sacks last season with a 10.7 rate in sacks during passing plays. This is a massive defensive line team. This is a problem for a lot of teams, especially when you got a lot of passing quarterbacks in the ACC. So they won't miss a beat there. The question that everybody has is this Keaton Slovis. Is he going to work with the offense? He's coming from USC. Can he pass? Can he move like Kenny Pickett? Sure. If you watch him, he's got the same movement, but he's not Kenny Pickett. There's going to be a little bit of drop off at the quarterback, which make me lead to believe that Pitt's going to go back to old Pitt. Little balanced offense. Keaton Slovis can pass the ball when you need him to, but he's not going to be the center of attention on the offensive side. But he doesn't need to be, because that defense is going to be so good that they're going to be in games, and all that he has to do is just be a manager on the field, get him down the field, get points. That's all that he's probably expected to do. The strength of this team is the 3 top rushers are back, and they should get more looks, especially with Addison and Pickett gone. Israel, I can't say his last name, and I won't even try. 5.3 yards per carry, 7 touchdowns last season as a freshman. He did extremely well. He's going to have a better season this year, and he will be the focus of the offense in this team. By the way, entire offensive line is back too. Entire offense. This team, I don't know. If I was a public eye, and I would see that Kenny Pickett and Jordan Addison jump ship NFL to another team, I would probably be like, "Oh, Pittsburgh's going to suck." This team is not going to suck at all.
No,
this team is going to be a contender, just like they were last year. They won the ACC.
I got a guy. Did you say it already? Konata Mumfield.
I did not say that.
Did you?
No, I was talking about Israel Aben Nkadan.
Well, I got Konata. Let me tell you about Konata. All right. He's coming from the MAC.
I love the MAC. Where in the MAC?
Akron. He's coming from Akron.
Ooh.
Or Akron, whatever you want to say. Akron.
No, it's Akron. Oh.
Akron. He had 8 scores last year for Akron. Highly underrated guy. He wanted a new home.
Okay.
And Pittsburgh said, come over here and replace our top wide receiver, which I think he can.
I just watched the benefit of the doubt.
I just watched his highlight tape. Konata.
Yeah, watch out.
I'm with you, though. Pittsburgh jumped my list after looking at what I just saw. Like you said, the top 3 leading rushers are back. In this, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to shit on the ACC. In this conference, you don't need to have amazing quarterback play. Okay? If you can run the football, okay? If you can have a good defense behind you, strong leadership, veterans, you're in good shape. They check all the boxes that I like to see in a football program. I'm in. I'm not going to tell you my ranking of them, but they're high.
No, we'll get to the ranking in a second. But
when? Like an hour?
No, we're almost to the end. We're on the back half of we're on the back half. We're fine. We're doing all right. Listen, these podcasts.
Can you see Charlie Weiss okay?
I've ignored the fact that you put Charlie Weiss in the background because I don't recognize him as a head coach.
Look at that FUPA though, man.
I know. Well, Kansas knows how to get guys that are unhealthy as their head coaches. So
yeah. Was it after Weiss or was it before Weiss? That other balloon?
No, it was before. Before. No, that's when Kansas actually made a good run. I think they were in the top 10 in 2008 or something like that. And that was when he was coaching.
That balloon's name? Sorry, that's me.
No, I don't know. I have to think about that one for a second. Now you're racking my brain. So, the game to watch in this one is a MAC team.
Is it?
Do you realize that Western Michigan beat Pittsburgh last year? Do you know that?
I did know they beat them.
Yeah, they upset them 44-41. As 14 point. That
was early in the season or no?
It was early in the season. Yeah, all the non-con. This was like week 2, week 3 or something.
That was before we thought. Like that was before we kind of knew Pitt was Pitt. Like
Pitt was Pitt after the Tennessee game last year, and this game came after the Tennessee game.
Okay. All right.
So it was a letdown. It was a huge letdown spot for Pitt coming off the Tennessee win, beating them on the road when everybody was high on Tennessee like they are every year in the beginning of the season. Lost 44-41. So that game cost them any sort of potential of getting to a college football playoff. If you actually look at their wins and losses, that was the game that cost them. You lost to Western Michigan. So I think this is going to stay in the mind of head coach Narduzzi. I think it's going to stick in the mind of a lot of those guys that are coming back on the defensive side, and they are going to maul that West Virginia team this year. Give me Pittsburgh in that game. Doesn't matter what the number is. Doesn't matter. I think it's going to be a blowout, and Western Michigan is going to get their dick kicked in. So that's the game to watch. What do you think?
Well, I just got an alert on my phone. So we are live right now. I live in the city of Philadelphia right now, and I just got an alert that 0.2 miles, there is a report of an armed person with a gun. So
stay safe.
Stay safe. Yes. So let me go lock my doors real quick. So you continue.
Okay. We're going to the next team. I'm going to go to UNC. So UNC's in a very difficult transitional period for the first time under Mac Brown. So you have, losing Sam Howell and Ty Chandler really hurts them on the offensive side because that was kind of their production last year. So they're starting a true freshman that they really like, and I've heard nothing but high hopes for him and Drake May. A lot of potential in this kid. Great arm. Loves to pass the ball. Perfect for the Mac Brown offense. I just don't know if he's going to transition that quickly as a freshman, let alone he only has 5 guys coming back on the offensive side of the ball. Now you look at the strength of this team. Very good in experience. I would just Lockbets is back.
Yeah.
I would just talk about the quarterback situation with UNC, and I'm transitioning into the wide receivers. The wide receivers are going to be very good and very experienced. They're bringing back their top 2 receivers from last year, including a 1,000-yard receiver in Josh Downs. So May, this guy Drake May, if you haven't heard of him, great arm, can pass the ball, kind of fits in the Sam Howell role. And I think it's going to be a very fluent transition. I just don't think it's going to happen quickly. So so this team is very inexperienced from the offensive side. But going back to the game to watch on this one, Virginia Tech on the first. Now granted, UNC played them in week 1 last year. If you didn't watch that game, they were a favorite and high hopes for this team with Sam Howell running the offense, Ty Chandler as a running back. And they lost 17-10 as 5-point favorites. Probably the highlight of the Hokies season, to be honest with you. They have to play them on the first at UNC. And also UNC has lost 5 out of the last 6 versus the Hokies. And we'll get to the Hokies in a second, but I think this is a great spot for UNC to get a victory here. I see them being a favorite in this game. I know our friend Craig will probably scold me for this later, but if there's any game that is a bad spot for Virginia Tech, this is the one. So UNC beating Virginia Tech is kind of the game to watch on October 1st. What do you think of UNC, the Tar Heels? I'm not talking basketball.
I don't know, man. I feel bad for my friend Mac Brown. I thought he had some good momentum going before last season. I really do think
he's on TikTok.
Is he on TikTok?
I watched a thing that he's big on social media. He's not running it. Other people are, but they film him doing shit.
Yeah, he says do it. I think they have a tough schedule. They're going to Miami. They got a date with Pitt. I guess they don't play Clemson this year. Is that right?
Not that I saw. No, I didn't.
Okay, so that's good news, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Last year they kind of stunk, right? So
I would say disappointing. I wouldn't say stunk. I thought they were average.
I think September 24th is an interesting date.
Who they play on that date?
Coming off a bye week. They got an early bye week. They got a full 2 weeks to prepare for the University of Notre Dame.
Come on. That's their game.
At home.
Good. Can't wait to murder them.
Okay. They got the bye week. Notre Dame's going to be who does Notre Dame play September 17th? Are they going to be sleeping at this one?
I don't think it's Marshall, maybe. I know they got Marshall on the schedule early.
Schedule.
I think it's Marshall.
Cal. Yeah.
Marshall, then Cal, right? It's like they play Ohio State, Marshall, then Cal. Yeah.
Never mind. Notre Dame's got a cupcake schedule too, just like the.
No, they don't. Stop it. No, they don't.
I know. I just wanted to see your reaction. Yes, listen, like you said, it's a game to watch. I'm not going to be watching many North Carolina games. I will be watching probably North Carolina, Notre Dame for a few minutes. I am a Notre Dame fan at heart. I grew up a Notre Dame fan. So
why'd you leave us? Why'd you leave us? Because you went to school?
I went to the SEC, man. The water tastes sweeter there, man. Something about the SEC. I've been to Notre Dame. I've had brats at Soren Hall, and I've been to the bookstore, and I spent $30 on one of their silly yearly shirts that the Alumni Association.
What's the bar outside there? I can't remember. It's like
linebacker in.
It's linebacker. Yes, right outside, right in the parking lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I played cornhole there many times.
Yeah. Great brats.
All right, I want to skip to Virginia Tech anyway. Let's go to the Hokies. I know Craig wants to.
Wait, you were talking about Notre Dame or South Carolina?
No, bar. What? Oh no, I'm talking about Notre Dame. There is a bar there. I think Legends.
Oh, Legends.
That's it. Sorry, I screwed that one up. Virginia Tech, the Hokies.
Those are great.
Right? We have a sponsor here.
All right. No. I'm no.
Wrong tube. It was wrong tube for
wrong tube. Guys, drink Viva. Drink Viva.
So Virginia Tech, the Hokies, transition period for them. Do you think this team is going to make a bowl, maybe, or are they on the downslide? Yeah. What do you think?
I think they're trending in the right direction. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
Because I don't think another team in the ACC. I don't think anything can get worse than what they've been experiencing. So I feel like I've said that for every single team in the ACC. I've said, it can't get much worse. Has there been one team where it's like, they're coming back? Last year they were amazing. I guess NC State, they were amazing, right? Last year. And then I guess Miami
was awesome. Wake
good,
Forest was awesome.
Pittsburgh was awesome. Yeah, but Wake Forest doesn't have their
Can't talk about Wake Forest.
No.
Uncappable.
But like 80% of the teams, at least for me, I've just been like, it can't get much worse.
Yep. I mean, my thoughts on Virginia Tech is, new head coach. Only 4 starters back on the offensive side. That kind of hurts them a little bit. But you know what they did? They went to the transfer portal and got the quarterback from Marshall, Grant Wells. So he takes over with an offense that was missing a quarterback since they let their quarterback go to
last year.
Oh yeah. He was a starter. I mean, you look at Marshall.
I wasn't on Marshall last year, so I'm in.
Marshall was a fun. Marshall was a team that I always put in the plays a lot, especially in good situations, because they had a good run game and they had Grant Wells that did fine. I think it's an upgrade at the quarterback position because they need that, and the guy can pass and he knows how to run a balanced offense, and that kind of fits into the mold of the Hokie mentality as far as the offense is concerned. 64% completion rate at Marshall. That's kind of that's a no-brainer. An upgraded position where they lost their quarterback to Tennessee, which kind of hurts them, and I know that's a thorn into a lot of the Hokie fans' asses. They're going to struggle stopping the run this year. They gave up 4.5 yards per carry. This is not typical to VT defenses. Granted, there was a Bud Foster retired who's been there for like 90 years. That was the guy that kind of set up the defense to be great, and he never left no matter what the head coach and changes were. 7 starters back on the defensive side, including their 5 top tacklers. So I would like to say there should be an improvement on that side, because their new coach is basically his prowess is defense. So I would think that they can't get any worse on the defensive side. They have Grant Wells. There should be an improvement overall in that team. I just don't. I want to wait and see on the outcome of that product. Game to watch. Do you have one?
No, they don't deserve one. So I don't.
All right, I'll give you.
Craig. Craig Thompson, if you're watching.
No, he sent me I can see him sending messages to me. If he wants to send a game to watch, he can. So mine is West Virginia on the 22nd of September. Lost to them by 6 points as 5-point dogs. I think they should have won that game. If you actually watch that game, they just had their offensive mistakes were just terrible. Had nothing to do with their defense. So look at this game to be big for them, especially with West Virginia on the downslide as well. So you have 2 teams kind of like rebuilding up. So you may see.
They have a pretty soft schedule, it seems like. So
Yeah.
maybe they'll have a few. Maybe they'll have a few Mickey Mouse wins.
All right, three more teams left before we rank them.
I thought you said we were almost done.
We're just gonna. These ones we're gonna fly through these bastards. UVA. What do you have to say?
I don't think it could get much worse for UVA.
I'm gonna say 10 starters back. And Brendan Armstrong, the quarterback's back with his top 3 receivers. That's the strength of that team. Everything else is a question mark because their offensive line is going to be brand new and inexperienced. So I see Brendan Armstrong sitting on his back a lot and grass stained. Game to watch is the rivalry of all is Virginia Tech at they're actually playing at Virginia Tech this year. Virginia
Do they have
Tech.
a defense yet? I mean, correct me if I'm
No,
wrong.
their defense has done nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing to say about the defense. The defense is
over.
bad.
Take the over in every game.
Overs are yes, because you have Brendan Armstrong is going to get the ball to his receivers regardless, and they're going to pass. They're going to have to score points, and there's going to be a lot of dime umbrella giving away 8 to 10 yards a play and just letting them run the clock out.
Right. You're watching the game and it's like 3rd and 12 and it's like a gain of 25 on a halfback draw. It's like, whoa, this is not what we're looking for, boys.
All right, my notes get weak after this though. Georgia Tech, 8 starters back. Number 3.
At least they're not running the option anymore.
No, they're not running the option, but they have the toughest schedule. They have the 3rd toughest schedule in the country. They have to face Clemson, Ole Miss, UCF, Pitt, at Virginia. Most of these are road games at Virginia Tech and at UGA. What a gauntlet! This team won 3 games last year.
It looks like Georgia Tech after this season is going to be looking for a new offensive scheme and a new head coach. That's my prediction.
Yeah, they're gonna look for a guy that can run the option. Shout out!
And I know a guy that could turn this program around, and he's standing right there.
Yeah, he wants a 10-year contract.
Yeah,
up front too. All right, last one's Duke. I didn't even put notes for Duke. I just put game to watch, and I think they play Temple in their first game this season. Do you know that Duke is 8-1 straight up and against the spread versus AAC teams?
8-1 straight up and against the spread?
Yes. So they play an AAC team.
You have found a sharp angle.
Yes.
What is the spread? May I ask what's the spread?
I don't know. I have to look. I haven't looked at week 1 yet. Okay. So week 1 is kind of like the number. There's a few games that I know and some that I don't, but it's worth looking at that game. But also keep in mind, this was under the David Cutcliffe era. That era is gone. Their head coach now is former
Mike Elko.
That's right, Mike Elko. And he was the former Notre Dame defensive coordinator and defensive coordinator for Texas A&M. So keep that in mind.
Hey, when was he a D coordinator in Notre Dame?
Before he went, probably 3 years. 3 years before he went to, when it's when Jimbo took over Texas A&M.
Okay,
it was like 3 years ago.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Well,
so now we're ranking. Let's rank.
Yeah. Well, I will say, Guns. My one thought on Duke, it can't get much worse for Duke. Mm-hmm. They were 130th in the nation in team defense.
It can't get any worse.
It can't get any worse.
You know why it can't get any worse? Because James Madison is 131 now.
I just read, Guns. I can't make this up. They were 130 teams in college football. Duke was ranked 130 in total defense. That's horrible.
Yeah. That's why Cutcliffe's like, I'm out of here. Can't take this anymore.
Get Coach K in there. Coach K's got some free time.
He's not coaching basketball anymore.
No.
Might as well coach football.
Coach him up on the zone defense, Get a little zone in there. Come on.
I would love to see football practices with Coach K.
Oh my God.
Just for fun.
It can't get much worse, right?
It can't. It can't. It really can't.
All
But
right,
Mike,
I'm ready
I like
for
Mike
the
Elko. I'll say this: I like Mike Elko, and he was a great recruiter, by the way, for Notre Dame. He was like one of the top 10 recruiters in the country. So let's see what he does. All right, let's rank them. So we're going to start with the Atlantic side of the board, and when I say Atlantic, I'm talking Clemson. Are you looking at it right now?
I was actually looking at pictures of Mike Elko, and he interesting looking fella. But yeah, keep going.
He's the only reason why Wake Forest ever had a defense, ever.
Right.
He came from
right.
Wake Forest.
I feel like he could come on the Dadbodd podcast. He looks like a dad.
I'm going to DM him for that.
Yes.
Your record with DMs to popular people are more, I don't know. Between me and you, we might be 50-50.
Yeah. We got to get some more obscure like athletes that were like backup quarterbacks, maybe like some Jeff Garcias of the world. I don't know. Yeah, so we need some obscure people in there. But anyways,
John Papelbon will answer my DM. So
you were close to Jonathan Papelbon.
It was close, but it kind of fell apart. So the Atlantic side, we're talking Wake Forest, Syracuse, Florida State, BC, Clemson, Louisville, and NC State. That side of the bracket, so we got to rank them 1 through 7. Just the Atlantic side.
The Atlantic side.
Yes.
Okay. Let me just pull up my notes here. It's currently loading. What's your favorite beverage from Viva? What's your favorite flavor?
So from Viva, I'm on the fence. I want to say watermelon. I really like the watermelon too. Very good tasting.
I think watermelon too, because I'm having the grapefruit one, and I think it's a clear third to the watermelon and then the huckleberry. The huckleberry is delicious. I don't even know what huckleberry is. Does anybody know out there what a huckleberry is? I couldn't tell you. Anyways, Guns, you want me to start this off? I'm ready to go.
Yeah, start us off.
That we're doing Atlantic, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so we're going to start it off with Syracuse 6. Sorry, 7. Wake Forest 6.
Yep.
Louisville 5.
Okay.
Boston College
4.
Boston College 4. Florida State 3. And then NC State 1. Clemson 2.
We differ on one.
There?
We differ. We differ on one. So I'm going to do mine. Okay. Syracuse 7. Wake Forest 6. Florida State 5.
Yeah.
And I understand your plight on that one because I bounce those back and forth. BC 4, Louisville 3, Clemson 2, NC State number 1.
So we have a consensus play with NC State there.
That's correct.
Good.
All right, let's go to the Coastal.
Okay. Let me get my Coastal sheet out here. Sometimes I feel like I'm living in like 2005 with my computers. Like sometimes I'm on my iPhone. Sometimes, it's a mess.
They had iPhones in 05? I thought it was 07.
Something like that. All right, hold up. Hold your horses. All right, I know everybody's on the edge of their seats right now. I see that we have 1,500 viewers right now on YouTube and 22,000 on Twitter. So hold up. Drum roll, please.
Wild.
Absolutely wild. I think Craig is still watching. Craig's got to still be watching. I hope he is.
Oh, he hasn't texted me yet. So
okay, so Wait, what? Okay,
I'm actually, I don't know. I'm actually looking at my top 7, and I'm surprised about my ranking.
this is a bad.
No, I'm. You know what?
side.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not
No,
surprised about my
I
ranking.
got this. I got this.
Yeah.
Duke 7,
Yep.
Georgia Tech 6,
Yep.
Virginia 5,
Yep.
Virginia Tech 4, North Carolina 3, Pitt 1, Miami 2.
Oh my God. And I actually like your ranking better than mine. I actually took Duke 7, Georgia Tech 6, UVA 5, UNC 4, Virginia Tech 3.
Ooh,
And
okay.
I kind of hate that a little bit now that I know a little bit more about the quarterback when I made these rankings, and I want to put UNC 3.
You
I'm
can
not
do
going
it.
to do it.
Just do it.
All right, I'm doing it. So you know what? I'm
Yeah.
doing it. UNC 3.
Go. You dog.
So
You
let's do
dog.
let's scratch racer board.
Reset.
Duke 7, Georgia Tech 6, UVA 5, Virginia Tech 4, UNC 3, Miami 2, Pitt 1. We're on the same page.
We're on the same page.
Who do you got winning it?
So I was looking at this, and I think both of our teams at the top of our ranking have value. I mean, I'm staring down the barrel at NC State plus 750, and I'm staring down the barrel at Pittsburgh plus 850.
I know, right?
I don't think Clemson minus 130 has any merit, has any value. All right. And listen, I still don't think Miami with a first-year head coach is going to win the ACC. No. So if you take Clemson out of that equation, if you just take Clemson out of the equation, I don't think Miami's going to win it. And then you're left with North Carolina State plus 750, Pittsburgh plus 850. Behind them is North Carolina and Louisville. I don't think they're going to win it. So I see it clear as day. North Carolina State plus 750 as my lean for the winner. But like you said before, you convinced me on Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh has a cookie cutter route to the championship, and I think they can do it.
I'm on the same boat. I think NC State and Pitt meet each other, and I think the outcome's going to be different than last year. And Pitt's not going to win this one. I think NC State does. I saw it at plus 700, 7-1. You had 750, which is great. And I think that is a perfect bet. But I don't hate taking, if you want to take both Pitt and NC State.
Yeah.
And then
they meet in the championship.
Or pick one or the other and hedge. Do what you want. But I think at the end of the day, the value doesn't exist with Clemson. The value exists with Pitt and NC State. And seeing them at that value at 7-1 or 7.5-1, NC State, I just think I'm betting more on the quarterback than I am on anything else. And Devin Leary has been there for so long. He's produced for so long. He's dealt with injuries. The story just works for him. And I love that team so much. Their experience, I think they have questions at the running game, but no problem. They have Devin Leary back there just ripping the ball off, and you have a defense to back you up in the process. NC State should win the ACC, in my opinion. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Team totals. I have 3.
Okay.
Do you have any?
You go first, and I'll take a peek.
All right. I'm going to start from bottom to top. So basically, I have 2 regular bets, and I have what we call the nuke as a gimmick, as a joke. But this is the best bet at the top. So I'm going to start with number 1. I think the under in the UNC total at 7.5 is a take. You're basically trusting on, if you're taking the over in NC State wins, you're basically trusting that Drake May is the guy to fill in for Sam Howell. I don't think he is. And plus, they've lost so much on the offensive production, which has been their strength. I'm not going to trust it. It's at 7.5 is a perfect spot. I got to take the under at 7.5. NC State over 8.5 based on like all I've said about NC State. I think this team is the most elite team in the ACC, bottom to top, offense to defense. You got to take them. Shout out Devin Leary. And then I have a nuke. The nuke that I got, the absolute bomb drop of team totals. It might be juicy, but that's why you put the money on the juice to alleviate the juice. UVA under 7 wins. Under 7 wins.
Is that the
team
team
is
total
so
right now?
depleted. It's at 7.5, depending on what book you get it at. If you get it at 7.5, God bless. Put more money on it. There is no way that this team is going to be as good as they've been in the last few years. They are so depleted. The only gift that they have is their quarterback and their 3 receivers from last year. Everything else is gone, and there's no reload button on that one. UVA is going to suck. Go back to the suck that they were. Under 7 wins. Nuke that all day long.
Yeah, I'm staring at it right now on DraftKings. Holy cow. It's a little juiced up, but minus 120, I'm not scared of.
That's why it's a nuke. You have to nuke a couple units on that one.
Yep. Okay. All right. While Guns Picks was nuking, I was cooking. I was in the kitchen doing a quick little rodeo. Doing a last quick glance, but I think I'm ready to. I mean, never mind. I was gonna say DraftKings puts like every single team totals. I can't sort it by conference, which is pissing me off.
Yeah,
but
I had to hunt for mine. I had to go for a hunt. It wasn't by conference; it was by team.
All right. So I'm gonna add to my North Carolina State exposure. I already have them at plus 750. I locked that in today.
I did too.
I personally put more units than I'm going to disclose because I put a good amount of money on it. But for all intents and purposes, let's do a 0.75 units on North Carolina State. So that's going to give you a hefty payday. All right.
What do you have for a number on that one?
Plus 750.
No, to win. I mean, I'm talking about win totals.
No. Yeah. Well, I'm going to add to my exposure. Sorry. I want them to win the Atlantic Division.
Oh, okay. I got you.
North Carolina State plus 475.
Oh, I love it.
Plus 475. All right. So, guys, this is a North Carolina State podcast. We may be on, listen, this is going to be clipped. And,
we might be a wolf. We might be so wolf pack. I may just be all red by the time it hits November.
Yeah. The amount of clips that we're going to be releasing coming November and December is going to be insane. Like we told you back in August.
Hey, listen, last time I clipped a future, you hit the Heisman. So I'll just say that for the record. For the record. Yes, you did. And you had a good number too.
I know. By the way, we have to get some Heisman picks before week 1 starts.
We got it. Yeah, okay. Good.
Under 6.5, Florida State wins. Plus 115.
Like that.
Plus 115. Okay. Not minus 115, plus 115. Usually that's a tall tale sign that the books are trying to rope you in, but I'm not buying Florida State, and Guns certainly isn't. I said it on the podcast. I think they're looking at like a 6-6 or 5-7. So if you like that mentality, I like plus 115 there. Miami, Florida, the U, under 8.5, plus 115.
Wow.
The U.
Very tough
The U.
pick.
Wait.
That is ballsy.
Wait, you ready? You ready? The U. There we go.
Oh, yeah. It's almost like horns down.
I just think if one thing goes wrong with their quarterback situation, they're fucked. And I said it before. I'll say it again. You said it. You live and die by your quarterback. Was it a smoke screen? Was it a mirage we saw at the end of last year? Is there going to be a second year bounce back? Is that email going to get bounced back? I don't know. But I'm going to buy it once again, plus 115. I love that number. And then Clemson, baby. You're not going to see me taking the over 10.5 wins. I'm taking the under. All right. I said there was a good chance this could be a 4-loss team.
How is this team 10.5?
10.5.
Did DJ Uiagalelei decide to be a quarterback overnight?
Guys, we have an alert. This is the max mega play bomb. Bombshells going off. I'm telling you right now, Clemson is not who you think they are. They're not who you think they are, okay? They're minus 130 to win the conference. You really think we're stupid enough to believe that? They're not the same Clemson as Trevor Lawrence. They're not the same Clemson as Deshaun Watson. 10.5 is simply disrespectful, okay? If I took over 10.5, I would have to be known as a fish, a burnt piece of steak.
Square.
Yeah, a square. So I'm taking the under. And like I said, I think there's a good chance this could be they could have 4 losses. So those are my picks.
I'm jealous of that pick. I'm jealous of that pick. I am.
Yeah.
I should have taken that pick, and I didn't.
I know. That's what I'm
They
hearing.
were who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Yes.
And that wraps up the ACC version of the Dadbodd podcast. Next week is the last one, and then we'll have a record of the G5s. Very short, very simple, very sweet. We won't go through every team. We'll just go through the ones that you need to know. But next week we got to do the Pac-12. Unfortunately, but
are we gonna have like two episodes next week? Because we got to go over week 0. The fact
week 0.
We'll banter week 0. We'll just talk about.
We'll have to banter it into. We'll have to. We can't banter it now. I mean, we'll have to banter it now if we want to banter it.
No. I meant like recap of week 0.
We'll kind of like. Yeah, I guess we'll do some reactions, but there's really not a lot of games on the board that are really worth talking about like they were last year. I believe. I think me and you put a whole episode together of week 0 and it was enough. This year I'm like, I look at the board, it's like nobody wants to play week 0 anymore. But anyways, I digress. That ends it for the ACC. We'll hit us up next week for the Pac-12, I don't even know if the Pac-8. Who's left on that in that conference? Until next time for the Dadbodd podcast 93. See you. Peace.